Hello, it's me, Angel, back with a new video. Hello. I just wanted to pop in real quick. I know this video is pretty old. I filmed it back in December of 2022, which was feels like 6 months ago, but I know that's wrong. Wait, no, that's correct because it's July. But even though I made the video so long ago, I felt like the content was still relevant today. And I wanted to put on a face since I didn't put one on in the video. And to be honest, I haven't put on my little war paints in the last week. It's been a pretty rough week. But anyways, this is going to be the last subtitle video that I'm going to make. The main reason why it took so long is because I was writing out subtitles for it. And as much as I want to include that in my videos, it just takes too much time. So I'm going to stop doing that. And I'm not going to subtitle this because I'm trying to push this out faster. And I'm beginning to realize that I'm more of a YouTube watcher than a YouTube content creator. I'm kind of shy, although some people would disagree. I'm trying to put myself out there more on the internet, but I have conflicting feelings about it. And I'll share the story one day, but I'm taking baby steps. I hope it's not too weird that I make a lot of comments, but I don't really put out content. I have a lot of things holding me back, but I'm doing the best that I can. And I also talk about money in this video, and I just want to make it clear that in the section when I'm talking about don't give money to people on the internet, I'm talking about romance scams. Don't give your boyfriend money ever. That should not be a thing. But if there's a GoFundMe that you want to contribute, yeah, of course. Or if you want to help a friend out, totally. But, if you meet someone on the internet and they're asking for money and you guys are sexting or, I don't know, romantically involved, just be careful about sending them large amounts of cash. I don't see any harm in exchanging small amounts here and there, but an entire life savings, hell no. No, that's not okay. And then I also want to briefly go over the internet safety tips that I grew up with, just because I feel like we need to revisit that, and the new generation needs to know these rules or tips or guidelines or whatever, because parents nowadays, I'm not a parent. I didn't have kids. I don't think I am going to. Not saying I don't like kids or wouldn't adopt or would never have kids. You never know. It weirds me out when I see parents crossing their child's boundaries, or when foster parents use their adopted children as content. So I feel like I need to share some internet safety tips that I grew up with, and I think it might be kind of fun to revisit briefly. First is don't meet anyone from the internet, which is really funny because we meet strangers from the internet all the time. We even go as far as like getting into their car and having them take us to wherever we need to go. Um, but I guess a more updated version of that would be don't meet strangers on the internet if you're trying to buy drugs or if you're trying to date. I know dating apps are very popular, but there's pee in the dating pool. You're not missing out, and it's more dangerous than it is fun. And so don't meet people on the internet for intimate purposes and for buying drugs, especially illegal drugs. Just don't buy drugs from the internet at all, unless it's a cannabis delivery service. Don't share your personal information. That's kind of a given, but everybody does that anyways, to a certain degree. I didn't write down all the safety tips, but those were the two that popped up. And also, never go live unless it's for work or you have security, or if you're at home. I don't feel comfortable going live when I'm out in public because that's dangerous. Even though I've worked in the public as a host and I see strangers all the time, it's important to maintain a level of privacy because people do not respect your privacy and your boundaries. You have to take an extra effort to protect it. When you're out and about, you're more vulnerable as opposed to being at home or being at work or having security with you. Basically, be with a group of people. Don't go live by yourself. Unless you live out in the woods and you know your area very well. Yeah, you'll never catch me going live unless I'm with a group of people and I'm getting paid. I also try to make a point of like posting delayed content because I don't want people to know where I'm at any given time. Also, with don't share personal information, like don't share where you work online. I know my internet content is very chaotic sometimes, and maybe, yeah, all the time. And so it would not be wise if I shared the exact location of where I worked. I know that being in the restaurant industry, most people would aim for celebrity restaurant status, but that's not like my comfort level. And I feel like I do a very good job. So I feel like it's more important to bring in the money from for the house because the hype will come on its own. Yeah, I don't share where I work because I don't want strangers talking, harassing me, because I've had that happen to me before. My peace is very valuable. But you know what? I noticed that once I settle into a place, like it stays busy and stuff. And sometimes it gets too busy. It's like, damn it, I need a break. But it's okay because that when it's busy, it means money is coming in. Sometimes, depending on if your employer pays you properly. But, anyways, that's about it. I just wanted to step in and make this quick clip. And I'm gonna go now. Enjoy the rest of the video. Bye. Yay. It's an Americano with gingerbread oat milk creamer. Today I wanted to sit down because I had some epiphanies, and I'm 36, I'm gonna be 37 in April, so I'm hitting close to that mark. I'm also a lot less sexually active. I have like no interest in dating anymore, and it's kind of crazy to like look back on who I was when I was younger and look at who I am now as an adult. And I've been waiting like my whole life to reach this age and to look like how I do. Like, I'm still pretty young, but I'm not quite old. I feel like, you know, everybody wants to look younger, and like younger people want to look older, and it's kind of like confusing because what is the ideal beauty in that case? Like, is it someone who looks like they're 50 and 5 years old at the same time? And it's so refreshing to see like older women like be proud of like their age and their life experience, and embrace like their body. You know, it's empowering because it's like, oh, I can look that good too, and you know, still hold on to like what brings me joy. You know, there's a lot of things I wish that someone older would tell me, like what to expect in the future. Honestly, I don't even know how I'm still here. Like, I should be dead. I always say that, but I honestly feel that way. Given how, like, bad Oakland is sometimes. But, you know what? I love it here. I like it more than San Francisco. And when I first moved to the Bay Area, I initially wanted to move to San Francisco because it was the city, you know? And I was honestly afraid of Oakland. I never thought I would even consider living here. But I've lived in Oakland the longest. I've lived in Hayward a little bit and in Pacifica for a moment. But, you know, primarily I've been in Oakland. And it's crazy because I'm like kind of known, but not really. You know, I went through different aliases, all derivatives of like my legal name, so it wasn't like I ventured off. And some of it wasn't like politically correct. Like, to be honest, I used to go by Lay because I had a friend who used to call me that. And I had like very small boundaries when I was growing up. And it's funny because even now as an adult, like there's a lot of things I don't tolerate anymore because I see how accepting of certain behavior shows that it's okay when it's not okay. And I liked how it was kind of like my name, but not really. And people always used to spell my name like incorrectly, like all the time. If I go by Lay, people will at least know that the E goes before the I. You also learn a lot about people. And I have a love-hate relationship with people. Like, I like my line of work because I like being around people. But when I'm not at work, I want to be alone. I can go both ways. I kind of swing between extremes because I have a Gemini Lilith. So I wanted to make a video, like a advice video. I mean, I tend to reflect on my life or some of the things that I want to point out is college. College, oh my god. It's such a big deal. Like, I guess it really depends on what you want to do. And, there's so much pressure to decide on what to do when you're like 18 and you have to be out in the world. Like, you have a choice of like going to school or going to work, or doing both, like going to school and work, or you could just work and party. I chose to do is all three. I don't know how I even survived college. 'Cause I did have like my moments. Like, I think there was only one class that I failed in, like truly failed in, just because I wasn't showing up. But that was also a wake up call. Like, it was like, oh, I gotta get my together. And I so strongly believed that like all I had to do was just finish college and I would be able to like find some type of entry level something. But there isn't any sort of entry level something out there. When I was in college, I was able to like not take work seriously. Work was just a place where I go to like get my paycheck. There were moments when I could have moved up, but the type of people who do want to move up are like so competitive. It's really intimidating. Like, I'm not gonna like physically fight you over some job position. And it's kind of scary, but it's true. A lot of places are like that. Like, they have like weird managers who will like kill you if you try to take their job or whatever. But it's like, no, I'm just trying to help. I feel like college wasn't a complete waste. It definitely, no one can say that I'm stupid. I mean, like, they can, but at the end of the day, like, I have a degree and I have all this knowledge, like. But yeah, I've had like random people come up to me like and tell me to go to school, and I'm like, I have a bachelor's. It's not my fault that I live in a racist place and people don't want to give me a chance. And one of the things I really appreciate about working in the restaurant industry is it doesn't really take much to get hired. All you gotta do is like be clean, communicate, and show up. Yeah, I feel like it definitely helps to be, more lovey-dovey, touchy-feely, and all up in people's business. I'm also gonna do what feels comfortable, you know. And for me to be like all touchy-feely like that takes time, you know. I know that like there's a handful of people who are just like that off the bat, and I'm just not, you know. I move slow when it comes to like real relationships too. Like, I'm not gonna be hugging the stranger. You also gotta respect like people's boundaries too. And just because someone has been assaulted or abused before, that doesn't mean that they're a bad person just because like hugging a stranger makes them uncomfortable. And it's kind of funny how like people don't like that. They don't like it when you tell them no. And it's just weird to me because people tell me no all the time and I don't get offended. I get rejected like so often. Is that if you're gonna go to college, there is one subject that you should spend time on and will not be a waste of your time, and that is business and finance. Because at the end of the day, regardless of whether you're into numbers or not, or business or not, if you want to turn like your creative passion into a career, You have to know about money. I touched on marketing, but marketing wasn't like my main focus. I already know what people want as far as marketing goes. Like, people want like someone normal, and I am not normal. I embrace my abnormalities. But I have that freedom because I'm also an artist. I'm not like mass producing a product. So everything you need to know about like budgeting, buying a house, starting a business, applying for loans, and all that, they teach you that in finance class. Take an economics class. And, it never hurts to take a political science class because the laws affect the economy, which affects your bank account and your livelihood. So it's important to pay attention to that. People think I'm like insane because I watch the news all the time, and it's like, oh, you like weirdo. And it's like, no, I need to know what's going on so that I know how to plan accordingly, because this world is crazy and I can't control how people act. And I can't control what the politicians do. All I can do is just vote and try to educate myself. Like, when I started school, I didn't know the difference between a debit card and a credit card. That's how financially illiterate I was. And I knew that about myself. I knew that I didn't understand money, so I went ahead and studied it because I'm not trying to get scammed into some, because people will trick you into some. Study business, because you can always be creative on your own terms. Like, there are plenty of artists who are self-taught, and you learn how to like take care of your money and how like the financial system works, how banks work. But stuff like finance, you can't, like, yeah, you could read a lot of books and stuff, but I feel like being in a classroom environment helps. Relationships. I know that people always say don't settle, and it's like, but why though? I never understood that. I'm definitely not, I mean, I used to be the relationship type, like I was always in a relationship, but then I became like more independent. If you feel called to settle, just do it. I feel like the people who say don't settle are the people who secretly do want to settle, and they don't have anybody, and they see that you have someone, and so they just want to f your shit, because that's what bitches do. Being independent is very cool and awesome, and you have so much freedom and stuff, but if you ever in your point in life like feel called to do something, just do it. You can ask people for advice, but at the end of the day, like, just listen to yourself. And even if somebody gets mad because you ask for their advice and you end up not doing it, like, you don't know what their intentions are, and you just want to see what they'll say. Like, what is normal? What would like people think if I did this thing? And plus, it's your life to live. Does this mean that I regret not settling with somebody that I was with? Yes and no. Yes, because I feel like we probably could have worked it out, but no, because like we met during a time when we were partying. Relationships based on partying never works out. Just because like drugs, like, you can only apologize so many times before it feels stupid and repetitive, and like, what the fuck are we actually doing? And can we do something besides this? And if we're not, and if this is all we're doing and nothing else, then why am I here? Would things have been better if I had pursued it? I really don't know. Just do what you want to do, is all I'm trying to say. Listen to your heart. And even if things don't always make sense in the meantime, if your heart is screaming at something and it's not drugs or alcohol or some addictive habit, like, just go with it. You never know what could happen. And if you've been with somebody for a long time, like, I feel like that kind of says enough. if you've been abused in a relationship, or you find yourself always in abusive relationships, then maybe that's a sign to like go to the side and just like be be alone, be by yourself, and process your trauma, because um, when people experience trauma, it can go either way. Like they can either heal from it and heal others, or they can um, carry the cycle out. So long story short, if you feel like settling, just do it. Who cares? Like, what, you get a baby and maybe a divorce out of it? Like, get, at least you have a child. No. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I feel like when it comes to parenting, like, you don't know until you're in it. I hesitated on parenting because I took care of my younger sister. I was a child taking care of a child. And my mom made being a mother sound absolutely horrendous. So I hesitated on it. And also, I had a very creepy dad. I mean, I technically do have until menopause to have kids. And also, like, when it comes to romance and stuff, like, if you need to be single, just be single. Like, you have your whole life to date. Like, there are old people who date. Like, it's not going anywhere. Who knows? Like, maybe I'll get married when I'm like 50 or something. I've always been open to marriage, but it's never been like something that I absolutely need to do. Oh, and also, like, don't date older people or younger people. Stick with someone your age. It's less weird. Never give money to somebody that you meet on the internet, like, ever. Like, if you're in a relationship with somebody long distance and they ask for money, don't give it to them. But always accept money. Well, no, actually, there's moments to that too. How you make your money matters. So I wanted to cover college, long-term relationships, settling. Always follow your heart, unless it's over an addictive habit like alcohol, drugs, gambling. I think that's about it. I hope this was helpful to someone out there who's still like trying to figure shit out. The reason why you feel like you know everything as a teenager is because you're reaching the end of like growing up, and you know how to deal with like the adults in your world, and so you feel like you know how adults work based on your experience with them as a child. But the thing is that as you get older, you become an adult yourself, obviously, but your perception of the world changes because now you're introduced to predators. Like, you begin to realize that some of the people that you grew up with are some of the people that you feared, or turn out to be like predators or whatever. And that's gross and weird, but it's a part of life. And you'll also have like friends who pass away. Your body never really stops changing, like, at all. I mean, like, you definitely look the same, you're the same height, like, most of the time, but your body still changes, and it's always as scary and as confusing as the first time. Like, if something doesn't feel right, go to the doctor, and if the doctor doesn't feel right, move on. Like, find another doctor or find another hospital. Just keep searching, because like, it only takes one time for a doctor to it will change your whole life. That's about it. I guess I'm gonna go now. I hope you have a good one, and I'll make another video soon. Bye.